I wouldn't do a lot of things, like, for instance, like kissing. You know, there might be, and I'm gonna explain that.
Yeah, because
there
I was
might
about
be
to
some
ask,
holding
like,
hands as well, like here and there, but very minimum PDA. Because the reason why I say that is because,
of temptation.
again, I'm older. I understand what some of those things lead to. Yes, also temptation, but also too, you know, I feel, and I know people might not agree with me, and I'm okay with it. I don't care. I feel that a lot of those things should be for marriage, you know, because now we're kissing, you know, those different things, especially if we're alone, you know, kissing gonna lead to other things, and, you know, now we have a baby.
Wow.
I'm
Automatic.
pretty sure they're PG-13. Hopefully, if not, I'm sorry, parents, you shouldn't have watched. But you know,
Just automatic raw activity. Just automatic raw activity.
You know,
Just automatic raw
possibly,
activity.
possibly,
No,
because when you're in the moment, because when you in the moment, especially if you're already married, because I've been there before, I've been married, you know, it ain't gonna be like, all right, hold on, let me go get some protection. Like, no, you in the moment, like everything's going, and you just like, it is what it is. Like, Lord, if this is your will.
Raw activities, guys.
Like, you know, but also too is because I don't want to build a relationship off of sexual, sensual type
Of
things.
course.
I want to build a relationship that is all based on prayer. Like,
Now,
can
you
you
know
pray
you gotta test
for
drive a
me?
car now.
No.
I'm just kidding. Okay. Okay, my 10% I'm working on. I'm just kidding. Please don't take me serious.
What you get up on there.
Please don't take me serious. I'm okay. This is my 10% I'm working on.
I'm gonna let that one be. Anyway.
Just edit that part out.
No, we're not.
This is the 10% I'm working on. Sorry.
You know, those are. I want to be intellectual conversations. You know, I want to.
Oh, let me pause you on that one.
Go ahead.
That having someone that you can have intellectual conversation with outside of joking or just simple conversations is like the best thing. Like, I like, like that is something that I'm heavy on. Like, if you don't like intrigue my intellect, then I know you're not for me.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like, I don't even need God to tell me you're not for me.
Yeah.
If you don't intrigue my intellect, like, you might as well keep it pushing.
Because women, they're receivers. They have to receive, like, intellect. They have to receive love. Like, you know, they have to receive these different things. That's why in the Bible, you never see it in the Bible where it says women, wives should love your husband, but it says that the husband should love the wife, because the man is a giver. If we can give you intimacy, you're cool. If we can give you stability, you're cool. If we can give you security, you're cool. Like, you're good on that, you know? But men, we provide those things. A healed, healthy man provides those things, you know? So
That's good that you said that. Healed, healthy man. Yeah.
Or even a healing.
That too.
Healing, because there are some people out here who are still healing, and they're recognizing those things, that they're healing on those things, and they're acknowledging them as well, you know. So I don't want to negate those people, to even include women as well, because if you're working towards the mark, you know, you're good. And also something else too, it's a side note for the men who are watching, like, God would never give us a complete woman. Also, how you keep the mind going, because I have to say that the other part of it as well.
Go ahead.
Also, on top of that, the woman that we're thinking of, that we're wanting to marry, that
It's not always the woman that's best for you.
no, she doesn't exist. We have to create her. So that being said,
You just said a mouthful.
I know.
Yeah, you just said a mouthful.
I know, because again, we have our desires that God, I want this, I want this, I want this. But we have to, okay, so you guys are like soil. We have to cultivate you. You're the garden. We have to grow you into what we desire you to be. You know, we have to grow you into really what you desire to be as well.
A lot of people don't look at it like that. Like, we really don't look at it like we have to grow our significant other into the person that we need them to be for us.
Yep.
And I think that's where a lot of relationships fail, because we automatically feel that person should already come with the necessities that we need, not even thinking of the necessities that they need to even be the person that we need.
Yeah, and even on top of that, when we're hypothetically, you know, if I'm seeing who I want you to be and who you want to be, and I start growing you into that person, because you're receiving that, you're going to naturally want to do it back to me. Now you're going to begin to speak to the king that's inside of me, and not the fool that I used to be. You know, you're going to really hold me down because I'm making you feel safe and secure.
Yeah, but then that's when it goes into us gleaming off of each other. Well, that's where it becomes us gleaming off of each other, because you put me in a safe space where I feel as though the things that you're giving, I should be giving plus more. You know, so then that's like
yeah, exactly. And that's why it's imperative. Use the big word. Imperative that you know that the man that you get with knows God. Like knows God. Like not, oh yeah, I talked to God. You know, the first Bible, the first book in the Bible is Genesis, and the last one's Leviticus. Because it's not, you know. But he has to have a relationship with God, because a lot of the things that we see when, you know, it's not good for man to be alone.
So disclaimer for the viewers. So he's not necessarily saying if you guys don't have God in your relationship that it won't work. Because not everybody has God in their relationship.
Yeah.
But
be a lot
it is most definitely a huge asset to your relationship to keep God, to have God first.
Very important.
Yes.
You need him. He's essentially.
You might get some. You could get backlash like, I don't have God in my relationship.
That doesn't bother me.
It doesn't bother me either.
Because again, I know who I serve. If you want to serve somebody else, go ahead. I still love you at the end of the day. I still pray for you at the end of the day, you know, but again, I can't agree with and I guess co-sign with something that I know that isn't true.
No, which is true.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
I definitely believe that most definitely God is a huge necessity.
Must, yeah.
You know, of being the head of your relationship. And I feel like that's with any relationship, even if it's a friendship. I feel like you should have God first. Because if not, it can go wrong. For sure.
It can. You gotta glean off of that, the Bible, to be able to be like, okay, well, I probably should forgive you because this is what the Bible says. You know, I probably should do this because this is what the Bible says. You know, and that's how I'm really trying to.
But also forgive for yourself.
Well,
like
yes.
Maybe people don't know that forgiveness is not for the other party.
Yeah.
It's for you. It's for
Forgiveness is
yourself.
the first step to healing.
Yes, it's a huge part of your healing. Like some people try to heal past actually forgiving that person. You never heal.
Yeah. And also too, forgiving doesn't mean that you condone what that person did. You know, because you can be like, no, that wasn't right what you did, but I do forgive you.
But I can love you past it.
Exactly. You know, and I know it's gonna take time and, you know, praying to God and therapy and those different types of things. And I believe therapy is huge and very important, you know. Even in being a believer, you know, I still believe that a therapist is a good thing to have.
Therapist is good just for humans in general.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, but yeah, you know, when the man has God in his life and he's hearing from God and he's communing from God, you know, all of those promises that God put in the Bible for what happens when you get married, like they come true. However, because there's always caveats to a lot of things, we can't read the Bible and say that, oh, well, the Bible says that the wife must submit to the husband and you must submit to me. Yeah, but
I can't
you're
stand
not
that word.
living what God says, because there's another part to that. It says, well, I'm a paraphrase. It says, wives submit to your husbands just the same way that, you know, Christ really loved the church. So if that husband isn't loving his wife the way that Christ loved the church, that kind of falls off. You can't submit to somebody who's demeaning, like talking down to you, calling you names, using their strength to, you know, frighten you. You know, all of those different things, but then expect her to obey what the word of the Lord says.
I can speak on that for days, because a lot of times you have a lot of one-sided relationships. Like I recently had to cut somebody off because of that. Like they got like real disrespectful. But then they hit me up like a couple days later, like everything was supposed to be so sweet. And I was like, were you born on earth? Like, no, that's not how that works. You need me, so now you want to, but a couple days ago you called me everything but what my mother named.
Yep, no, I get it. People are kind of backwards like that. Yeah, oh, and speaking of that, I don't know why this just came to mind, but yeah, ladies, if a man ever comes up to you and says, I believe that God said that you're my wife, he's lying. Lying, because that's not biblical at all. That's not biblical. Because you don't see in Genesis where God said, woke up Adam and said, hey, yo, that's your wife. Go ahead and get her. God presented him with an opportunity.
You know how many women fall for that?
Yeah, God presented him with the opportunity,
which was one of
Eve.
those women.
I was almost
one of those women, and I almost felt for that. Like,
God presents.
But he definitely told me, like, I believe you're my wife. And in the same sentence, played in my face.
Oh, wow.
The crazy thing.
Same sentence.
Didn't
Didn't wait till after the period. After the period.
Didn't even wait. Jump right in.
That is crazy.
Like, literally, in the same sentence, played in my face. I'm like,
that is
okay.
That is crazy.
I know I'm not the one for you.
Yeah, definitely. Run from that. Run from that.
Please run, ladies.
Yeah, because again, God will...
Men too, though. Yes, men too, because you men too, because you have some women will say, women approach it different. We lie about it differently.
Yes, yes.
We lie about it differently.
I agree with that.
We may not say God said, well, we have to make you believe that what we said is true. So women will say, I had a dream that you was my husband. God showed me in this dream that you were my husband.
Man, I've been there before.
Oh, see, I'm not the only one.
I've been there.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I've been there before.
Oh, yeah.
Why can't you see? Because he didn't tell you. That's why I can't see. That's why I can't see it. Or can I ask him myself? Well, why can't you just believe me? So you saying that you, okay, got it. You better than God, gotcha. Different story for another day.
Another podcast, guys.
But also too, God actually takes and positions the woman in the man's path, presents him with an opportunity. Now it's up to the man to be like, you know what? Yes, I want to pursue her. I want to chase after her, and I want to be with this person, because if God is like, this is your wife, this is your husband, now that goes against your free will. That goes against your free will because he's telling you that you're going to marry this person.
Does it really go against your free will, though?
Yeah. Because
Well,
what
so
happens
let me
if
put
you
it like
don't
this.
want to marry that person?
Right. So let me put it like this. Because I don't. Well, let's look at it from this standpoint.
Okay.
God tells us a lot of things. He tells us a lot of things.
Yeah.
We don't always go with what he tells us.
But those things that he's telling us are biblical principles, right?
Yeah. But if God's telling you like this, that's who I have for you, how is that going against your free will?
Because if you read anywhere in the Bible, there was nowhere where God was like, no, this is the person that I have for you. Again, breaking it down, even with like Abraham. Because I know some people are like, oh, well, what about the thing with Abraham? The thing with Abraham was Abraham had his servant to be like, hey, I need you to go back to my country and find my son a wife. And if you can't find her, you're released from this. So the servant went and he prayed. And before he finished praying, his wife came out, they did all the things, and then they went back. Isaac still had the ability to be like, no, I'm good. No, we're gonna move on to another one. Like that, he wasn't obligated to, okay, this is the one that I want to marry. He chose that. And also too, even with the things that you said that what God says that, tells you specific things, like to do the right thing, to love your mother, to do all of these different things, you still have the choice to be like, nah, I'm good. I'm not going to do that. Now, yes, there's going to be repercussions for those things. So that's essentially the same thing with the person. If you decide
with him telling you who your spouse is and you choose not to go with that person, there will still be repercussions of you not going with that person because then you went with somebody of your free will choice.
And the same thing with
and it
anything
didn't go
that
right
goes with
because that's
anybody.
not who God had for you.
Yeah.
But you knew but God told you who he had for you. And you still was obviously what he would not tell us.
So we're playing a unnecessary hypothetical.
No, we are.
Here, but no, I get what you're saying though. He's not going to, again, tell you who she is or who he is. Like he will push you that way. Like, as long as you're in his will, you're doing things his way, he's going to push you towards that opportunity. And again, if you're like, nah, I'm good. You know, I don't feel like he's gonna be like, all right, done the best I can do. Good luck, Paul. You know, like I still feel like he'll present you with other opportunities. You know, but when we start to pursue that person, I see it happen very often. You know, we're like, oh man, like this girl bad, so now I'm gonna wear this suit, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna make sure I'm clean shaven. You know, I got my job because I want this girl. But then once they get married, it's like, all right, I'm gonna take off this suit, I'm gonna wear this raggedy shirt, you know, I'm gonna stop shaving, I'm gonna quit my job. I got her, I'm good. And that's the way that like society says that you should chase the woman, you should chase the man, and once you get married, you're good.
So do you believe in a woman chasing a man?
I believe that a woman should be chaseable. I believe that a woman should give a man a reason to chase her. Because, again, I enjoy speaking biblical principles. So, in the Bible, it says that when, you know, a woman, the wife should leave her mother, or the man should leave his mother and father and cleave to his wife. And if you actually look up what that word means, it actually means to closely pursue, aka to chase, right? So that's saying after they get married, wow, he should be pursuing her. So after we get married, I still should be pursuing you to learn more about you, to grow with you, you know, to make myself look presentable, you know, those things. And also, again, on that same note, a woman, again, should give a man a reason to pursue. So if before you guys got married, you know, you were naturally beautiful and everything, like you still should be trying to uphold yourself that way. If you were in the gym 24/7 before you pursued him, or he pursued you, and you guys get married, you still should be doing those things because he pursued.
Or he set me up with all these kids. I get.
I mean, but that's, you know, a different story. You know, it ain't gonna be like, I can't believe you put on weight. There's a whole baby in here. What do you mean? You know, so doing things to really keep each other's attention, you know, in a relationship, because there's going to be a lot of distractions.
I do feel like you should always do things to keep your significant other's attention, because the moment you stop from thinking of someone else, or it could be something, can grab that.
Exactly. 100%. So should be pursuing purpose. Purpose is important. Definitely. So
yeah. You just said a little mouthful though. I give it to you.
Yeah, you know, I'd be listening. I ask a lot of questions.
But there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Like the more questions, I feel like the more questions you ask, the better.
The right questions.
What is really the right question?
I mean, I feel like I guess it's because of the journey that I've been going on. When you start to really understand who you are and whose you are, when you really start to understand that the world has put so many things on you to make you be a specific type of person. You gotta be a size 2. You gotta eat this, you gotta do that, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. Not everybody fits that mold of what the world says that we should be, but a lot of people try to fit that mold because of peer pressure. A lot of people try to fit that mold because they don't want to be different. You know, they don't want to be this, they don't want to be that. Like, I've come to the conclusion that I'm not for everyone, and I'm okay with that.
I think I didn't say it that way, but my mom, something similar to that, like last night. I told her I feel as though like I'm in a place of, well, right now where I no longer am going to allow people or I don't even know how to put it. How do I put this clearly? Like, I'm no longer letting people come with their phony lies, and then I'm just like, oh yeah, no, like I'm not doing that anymore. Like, I've done it for so long, it's to the point where it's not like, stop. Like, just go ahead. Just go ahead, please. Leave me alone.
No, and then again, I 100% understand that, you know, like even with me, like I was always a people pleaser. I always, like, I noticed, especially growing up, like looking back on my life, that I had friends, but I didn't have a lot of friends. Like I had people who were more of acquaintances or were there for that season, you know, who really were using me for what I had, you know. And I started to realize that I am a rarity, that I am, and I'm okay with saying that now, that I'm rare, you know, like a diamond, like rare, and understanding that I can only have, I was actually talking to my friend yesterday about this, that understanding that I can only have friends that are rare. Because, and as she was speaking about this, I began to think, you know, I felt like God put it in my spirit, that I was thinking about a diamond, right? And the only thing that can cut a diamond is a diamond, like nothing else. So to be a diamond, you have to be around diamonds.
Right, that's just like iron sharpening.
Exactly, you know. And of course, I have people in my life who may be a ruby, who may be a sapphire, who may be topaz. Beautiful. They are beautiful.
It's not on the same level or page. Or
yeah, you can say it that. That's the best way to kind of say it. But doesn't take away from who they are.
Right.
Doesn't take away from their light. Even when they're standing next to me, it doesn't take away from who they are. But sometimes because of what society says, oh, a ruby isn't that good compared to a diamond. You know, this isn't that good compared to that. You know, now they start to compare themselves to me, or they feel that I'm going to get ready to do something else and move this way or do this way. So people, and I've noticed that a lot of people expect me to go a certain way because there's nobody that can be that nice. Like, you must be on to something. Like, you must want something. I'm like, no, yeah, I do want something, the best for you. That's all I want. The best for you, you know, and I've lost so many people that way because they're expecting me to switch up. They're expecting me to change. Like, there is no way possible that anybody can be this thing. Yeah, there is, nice, you know.
He's not that nice, guys.
No, okay. You know, just being an authentic person, you know, and.
But I told you that though. Like
you did.
I told you that.
You did.
I told you like.
Yeah, I know you did.
I told you people need you to be you, and not to question you because you have what people need. I told you that.
Yeah, I know. I'm walking into it. I really am. You know, I guess the best way to say it, I'm actually, which we all should be doing, rediscovering who I actually am.
No, definitely.
Before the world told me who I was.
No, I definitely feel that.
Yeah.
I definitely feel that. I feel like past year, I've really been like trying to figure out who Creshia is and what Creshia is. And like just really figuring out like what's the correct pathway for you. Like I've done so many things that I wanted to do that led me ways I did not want to be. So this past year, I've definitely like been rediscovering myself. It's a little rough, but it's been much needed.
Oh yeah, definitely. It really is. It's needed not only for you, but for the people who are that you've been assigned to, the people who need to hear your testimony, the things that you've been through because they're going through those things or might be going through those things eventually, you know, or still struggling for those things that you have been through. And to hear somebody else stand up and say, yes, I've been through this. Yes, I've done this, but God, you know, it gives other people hope and other people faith, as it says on the back of her shirt. You know, it gives them that need and want and drive to go on, you know. So really rediscovering who you are is very important, you know, and of course the way we do that is spending time with God, you know, spending time with Him, because the more you spend time with Him, the more you spend time with yourself, the more you discover about yourself, you know, and that has been my journey, you know, lately, and it's been a fantastic journey.
Yeah, it becomes a fantastic journey once you get past those rough patches that you put off for so long of not wanting to deal with, or not wanting to looking in the mirror, so to say. So once you get past that phase of it, then it's like, oh, then you start to see like what you held yourself from, or what was on the other side waiting for you, just because you wouldn't face yourself. Honestly.
Yeah, definitely. That is sometimes a hard person to face is yourself, you know, and to even forgive yourself. Like again, we can easily forgive others. Some of us can easily forgive others, but you know, sometimes it's hard to forgive yourself because you've lived your life, you know. So it's like, okay, well, how can I forgive me for that? How can I forgive me for this? You know. But again, at the end of the day, God has forgiven you.
They done let somebody black on the ops back there. They done let somebody
they've
black.
been hitting some bangers.
I'm trying to say so serious.
Yeah.
They done let somebody black on the ops back there. And they play Lord, Beyonce, Stevie Wonder.
This is a lit Starbucks.
No, for real.
Talking about who got the soul.
No facts.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
No, you're good. But no, it's definitely important getting to know yourself. Because when you get to know yourself, you can fully walk into who you actually are. Because a lot of us have a mask of, like, I gotta do this, I gotta pretend to be this way so I don't be judged, I don't be that, I don't be that. And you know, when I think of that,